Is Boosted Boards really having financial struggles? Today we're going to talk about that. What's up guys, it's Brandon and welcome to another video, I believe the first of 2020. Sorry it's taken me this long to make this, but here we are. So we're going to talk about the new Verge article that came out. I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't, The Verge released a new article about Boosted Boards and how they might be in financial troubles. The article is called Boosted Struggling to Move Beyond Electric Skateboards. This article goes on to talk about the potential financial troubles that Boosted has, as well as other issues and what it means for their future. This article is being shared around a lot within Reddit, forums, social media. Everyone's talking about it and they're really speculating on how it's come to this, what's going to happen to Boosted. So I'm going to summarize this article and I'm going to talk a little bit about my opinions as well. So let's get this started, but before I talk about the various issues that Boosted might be having with their finances, I'll start off by talking about sort of the history of Boosted Boards and how they got to this point. Keep in mind that this first half of the video will be a lot of points that are taken basically directly straight from the Verge article. So if you do want to read the Verge article yourself, link will be in the description. Make sure to check them out. So in 2017, Boosted Board got a new CEO, Jeff Rusakow. So Jeff, as the new CEO of Boosted Boards, he did a couple things. He doubled the workforce, he hired double the employees, they moved offices, and within that year, I think that year they released the V3 electric skateboards, and they were able to secure up to around $80 million in investment funding. So they secured that funding late 2018. So in mid 2019, Boosted came out with their electric scooter, the Boosted Rev, which I made a first impressions video earlier last year. And they sold this electric skateboard for $1,600. Now keep in mind that the market for electric scooters has already existed for a while, and Boosted Board is just entering with a fresh new scooter. So now we're here at this Verge article. People are talking about it. What happened? Why are people talking about Boosted's financial problems? Why is this happening? So first, let's focus on the scooter for a second. The CEO, Jeff, he had a statement to Verge. He was saying that he believed that Boosted Boards could have been profitable, assuming he meant if they stayed on the electric skateboard path. But his focus, he wanted to shift the focus of Boosted Boards to grow the brand instead of necessarily turning a profit. So in order to do that, his decision for the company was to, go into electric scooters. The issue is electric scooters, they already had a lot of options that people were buying. Xiaomi and some other companies, they're already selling really cheap electric scooters that everyone's buying. There are scooters that were, $400 or less that worked completely fine, did everything that normal commuters needed a scooter to do. And so people were happy with buying a $400 electric scooter. Boosted comes in, they want to build a premium electric scooter that, lasts for a while, feels like a vehicle, and they're charging 4 times the price. If you're an average consumer and you're, deciding between a $400 scooter that works for your case for, at least a year or more, depending on your usage, or a $1,600 scooter from a new company in this market that, makes a really beautiful scooter, but, it's 4 times the price. Most people are going to choose a cheaper one, right? So I believe that might have been what happened. I don't have official numbers or anything. This is really just speculation, and this is also based off of rumors that I've heard personally from people I know, that the Boosted scooter, the Boosted Rev, is not selling as well as, Boosted would hope or would want it to sell. In addition to that, The Verge talks about how the Boosted Rev had a 2-month delay in the beginning, so that can mess with your timeline and your money. So it's not looking good for the profitability of the Boosted Rev. On top of that, Boosted has issues with the China trade war. Basically, the China trade war puts tariffs on a lot of goods coming from China, right? And Boosted, all of their hardware essentially comes from China. They're making their hardware in China, and I'm assuming they build it in America, right? It's like Apple. It's designed in America, created in China. So this puts a big dent on, on the amount of money that they're spending to make these products, because they're likely getting taxed huge amounts of money to have their hardware shipped to America. But it's not all bad, because according to Verge, Boosted actually was able to secure exclusion from tariffs. So they're expected to get millions of dollars back from the US government. However, that can take a long time, and they're only able to secure that late last year, so just within these last couple months. So they're probably not seeing that money for still a long time. So they've already had to pay the taxes, but they're getting that money back in some undisclosed amount of time, sometime in the future. So you can imagine a situation. Boosted just released a new scooter after a delay. They're losing money from the delay. Their scooter's not selling well. And every type of hardware, whether it's their electric skateboard or their electric scooter, is being taxed heavily by this Chinese trade war. And so they're basically bleeding money at this point, right? Yet they do expect money in the future, but we don't know how far in the future that is. In addition to this speculative, money trouble, Verge has also talked about a bunch of top executive employees leaving Boosted. You have their chief marketing officer, you have their vice president of engineering, operations, as well as quality. They're leaving, and then there's an additional around 20 or so people that have also left the company in the last couple months since like September. Now the reasons are either personal reasons, unknown reasons, or they're just simply leaving the company to go work for like another company. So I wouldn't personally say this is a reason to say that, oh, Boost is leaving money and employees are losing faith in the company. It could be any reason. People come and go at tech startups, and Boosted is a tech startup, so I wouldn't attribute this as a reason to why Boosted is falling. It's just a bad look to all the other bad news that The Verge is reporting on. So with all these apparent issues, what is Boosted going to do about it? Well, according to Verge, they are going to start going into cost-saving mode. They used to give free lunch to their employees. They're going to stop that. That's just one example that they cited. But in general, they're going to try to save money where they can. And according to Verge, they speculate that, if it doesn't work out, there could be potential layoffs and maybe even a sale of Boosted board. Although the Verge themselves, they quoted the CEO of Boosted, Jeff. He said that there are no layoffs planned. So take that as you will. The Verge reports that there's a possibility, yet the CEO of Boosted Board says, no, that's not happening. So this Verge article by Sean O'Kane, he talks a lot about a bunch of different facts. He's done a lot of research, but he's also given a lot of his opinions in this article. And I think he's right that Boosted is in a hard time right now, but I feel like the article also spins it in a way that like really makes it look bad. Like, oh, Boosted might shut down within the next month or so, or really close future. They're just they're gonna get sold to another company. And you know what? I have my opinions on it, and I guess that's a good transition or segue into my thoughts and opinions about this whole situation. So to respond to the article and what everyone's been talking about, here are my thoughts and opinions. So the first big question is, do we think that Boosted as a company, Boosted Boards as a company, are they going to fall? Are they gonna completely drop off the grid anytime soon? And my honest answer is I do not think so. As I mentioned previously, I feel like this article overstates how bad of a situation is. I don't think it's as bad as people think. So like the article said, and what I mentioned before, Boosted is expecting millions of dollars from the US government sometime in the future. So what that means is Boosted can realistically survive as long as they survive long enough to receive that money. And you might argue that, what if Boosted, they run out of money before then? My argument there is, I don't think that's going to happen because there's going to be a new wave of people buying electric scooters, electric skateboards in the next couple months. We're close to the end of winter. It's about to be spring, continuing to get warmer here, and everywhere in the northern hemisphere, it's getting warmer. It makes sense that the last few months Boost has not been doing well because who's buying electric scooters and electric skateboards when it's like snowing out, right? Like this is not the time to buy electric skateboards, but in like a month or two, people are going to start looking at electric skateboards again. They're going to start buying. They're going to start selling some more boards and scooters. And hopefully by then, they've seen enough money that they can continue living on until they see that big US government $1 million check or millions of dollars check. So that would be a situation where Boosted would continue to survive. And I also don't think that Boosted is going anywhere because they are basically the #1 electric skateboard company in the industry. And I don't mean that they have the best electric skateboard like in the world, like performance and spec wise. I'm saying that in the eyes of society, people who like don't own an electric skateboard or they've heard of an electric skateboard, just people who watch YouTube, who look at media, when they think of an electric skateboard, they think of the brand Boosted because that's what media talks about the most. So no matter what, people are still going to be buying these boards. People are still going to be looking at this brand. So it's not likely that they're going to stop making money completely. From the article, the biggest cost-saving thing that they really mentioned was just cutting lunch. So it doesn't seem like it's drastic yet. It seems like they still have money to build boards and sell to people. In all honesty, I think they should be fine, right? Like people are going to continue buying their boards. They're not going to lose customers. In fact, they're probably going to gain customers, as I mentioned before, as it gets warmer, because people know about Boosted. Like it's a well-known brand. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, at least like in the minds of, the general consumer. But I will say this, it's going to be a challenge for Boosted coming up, because if they can survive this, if they can, get their money and continue to work on their products, there's a lot of competition in this market. because electric skateboards are getting better and cheaper. And in many cases, they're either equal to or better than the boosted board at like a fraction of the cost. A lot of these Chinese companies like Wago, Xway, Meepo, they're making great budget boards, extremely great budget boards for like literally a fraction of the cost, like anywhere between $400 to $800. That's a huge fraction of the cost. A boosted board, I believe, costs anywhere between $1,200 to $1,500 depending on the model. A lot of people who do their research, they end up just buying the cheaper models. So even if boosted can survive this, even with the brand that they have, their next board, I believe, needs to be like a WoW board. It has to be able to capture the industry again, or else boosted board might not be able to recover. Because there's so much competition, because it's making too expensive a board, it might suffer the same fate as their boosted rev. Like if they make too expensive a board that people aren't buying because of that reason, they could be doomed to fail if they go that way. But they haven't gone that way yet, and I think that they still have a chance to recover. I don't think they're going to just die in the next couple months. But let's say they do, okay? What if boosted, like next month, you know, they run out of money, they're gone, like they don't get sold? What happens? What happens is we lose the face of electric skateboards. As I mentioned before, people know electric skateboards as boosted board. If the face of electric skateboards disappears, people might start losing faith in electric skateboards, like general people. I don't believe electric skateboards have hit that boom yet where like everyone's adopting it. We're still sort of in the, there's a graph somewhere, I forgot what it's called, but it's basically the how tech gets adopted over time. I don't think we've hit that big boom yet. In order for electric skateboards to really get adopted by everyone, and you know, not even electric, I mean, I would say electric scooters might have hit that point, since you know they're kind of everywhere in certain cities. Electric skateboards have not had that opportunity to really shine because, you know, and it might never, because it is a skateboard. Not everyone skates. But in order to have that possibility, we need a face, like a brand that people can trust to grow and really lead the industry forward. And boosted is that industry leader. Without an industry leader, you know, I'm afraid that the industry is just not going to do so well. But that's the potential bad thing. The one good thing that can come out of it is that people who are still interested in electric skateboards, they're gonna, you know, do a bunch of Google searches and find out about all these vast amount of other great electric skateboards out there on the market, those that are better and cheaper. So that could be a good growth for every other company. And that could be really good. But again, I'm just afraid that without that industry leader, the electric skateboard industry as a whole won't be going too far. But who knows, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that, you know, the media and the industry will pick a new brand. I don't know who would be able to replace boosted. There are a lot of great companies out there, but they don't have a good enough standing that they can compete with boosted, you know, on the mass media level. But if I'm wrong, maybe they pick a company and electric skateboards will continue to flourish. Who knows? We will have to see. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I know I had a lot to talk about, but you know, this is a very hot topic, you know, on the internet right now, and a lot of people have their opinions. So I ask you, my viewers, if you guys, you know, have any opinions, any thoughts about this, put them in the comments. Feel free to discuss among each other. I will also be responding to everybody in the comments, because you know, there's a lot of speculation out there. You know, have their own thoughts about why boosted's failing, what's going to happen with boosted, and you know, it could be anyone's guess really. So let me know, and you know, we can discuss in the comments. But otherwise, I'm basically done with this video. If you guys like this kind of video where I kind of just talk in front of the camera, I would like to do more of this. But if you enjoyed this, be sure to actually hit the like button so I know. But if in general you want to see more electric skateboard content, feel free to subscribe to me on YouTube, as well as follow me on Instagram. On Instagram, I post a lot more frequently. I'll post clips of, you know, riding footage. But yeah, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.